So I kind of like, I'm back to the way you see, I got my hospital gown right here, and I'm going to take it off because it's kind of hot right now. I mean, as you can see, the last thing I had. But I thought it was be kind of funny because the show must go on, right? But everything has to be consistent with whatever we got going on. It shows that we can get through it. But today's topic, if you're not following along, right, is going to be something that adds to what she said last week. This week's show is going to be when do you choose yourself? When do you actually choose yourself, both as a female side, as a male side? Because it's not going to come from your breakthrough coach. It's not going to come from another strategy. It might not even come from another man, another woman. It'll come from finally choosing you. And that's when you're going to be able to attract your other partner. Where I call it, I told Andrea, when you realize certain things, that you've won the lottery in relationships, right? When you do you feel, Carrie, that you won the relationship lottery?
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
I feel like I have met my match.
Right. But you attract, and then you attract the person that you become at the same time at your level. And God, or whoever you believe in, puts that in a situation where, yeah, you can have that lifing partner, basically. Because once you get all that situated, Carrie, if you're not following Miss Carrie, welcome, guys. My name is Gordon Watt from Boundaries of the Brotherhood. And my co-host, Miss
Carrie Pullaro.
While I get us technically set up, she's going to give us what we're going to be doing.
Today, we're
I'm
talking
laughing.
about when do you choose yourself? When do you choose yourself? And I think for me, choosing myself, it was the moment that I stopped waiting for someone else to validate me. When I realized that I could validate me. I'm the only one that's going to be there with me this whole time. The only one that won't abandon myself.
That's deep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the only one that's going to live with myself 24 hours a day for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. How does it, guys, if you're not following Miss Carrie Pullaro, if you like this type of content on TikTok, go on to the YouTube, watch us on live, and figure out how we can get you. Leave us a comment over there, because this is the type of stuff that's relevant in today's marketplace, your workplace, and help you relationship in business, sales, and your personal relationships, right? Because a lot of times you don't understand that, like Carrie said, you're the only person going to be okay with yourself. Whether you attract the right person or not is going to be up to you, right?
Yep.
And if you're not following along with her, she has the most deepest posts, because you can tell how somebody internalized all the information that she's been given to create this lifestyle. Explain, how is it for you as a woman, right? Choosing peace over proving.
I think that started with just walking away from a different version of me, an older version of me.
Explain that.
Because the older version of me was so addicted to the proving, and walking away from that version that was afraid of my own standards, of boundaries, of knowing deep inside of me, like what was my truth, but being afraid to go there to express it. I think that that's where it started, was walking away from version of me.
Does the older version of you come in different phases, or is it this one day? Because if you put in a lot of work into yourself. I know that, because
Yeah.
you can tell how you walk, talk, post, everything from how it was. Forget what I knew you from the past. But at the same time, how does it make you feel now?
Oh man, I do not realize how far I've come until I start working with people. And then I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, I remember when I did that. I remember when I thought that's cool. And it feels so good, because it's like, now I see my growth, and I know I am fully equipped to help this person, period.
Yes. 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 I mean, I'm for once over the years seeing the transformation from afar. And that's why I would never stop applauding you for putting in all that work, whether you were stressing for money, where you was angry, where you were looking for some sort of purpose or something like that. Because look at the outcome now. The outcome is simply amazing, because I can tell from your post, it's not surface. You're not just saying it. Once you prove to yourself and start validating yourself, that you can figure out that you don't have to prove nothing to yourself but yourself. Whole path changes. You attract different type of people, clientele, because what does the coach do? A mentor does something else. A coach does something. The coach finds your potential and brings it out of you as the best they can from their knowledge from the past. And that's what you do. And that's what you've done even for yourself because you have the tools. What happens if you didn't have the tools?
I wouldn't be doing this.
Do you remember the exact moment or something that kind of like, this is where the path is going to go?
Yeah, and it was a specific conversation. I remember I was having a
Okay.
conversation with a mentor, and she said, I was brand new to doing any kind of work on myself. I was always complaining. I was complaining about life wasn't going right, relationships weren't going right, my work wasn't going right. There was just so much happening that wasn't going right. And she said to me, wow, this is so great because you're the common denominator in every single situation. So you know that you can fix it. And I was like, oh shit, she's right. I am. And it had never occurred to me that I was the common denominator and I had the ability to shift all of that. And it was because I had never worked on myself before. And it was the lack of personal responsibility. I wasn't willing to accept personal responsibility for my life at that time until that moment when I was like, oh, wow, I really am.
But how many coaches or mentors have you been through before until that one? Because different phases, different life, different situations. Then something finally, even like for sales and business, right? You could fail in business. You could do all these other things. You could go on a path. That book or that situation might hit different through the years. Even though it's the same thing, right? How did that work out? Or explain how that became the way how you chose yourself versus outside validation.
You mean it reminds me, because I go back to that conversation a lot and it's really funny. And I actually say those words to some of my clients. How are you the common denominator? Because it allows you to take everybody else out of the equation and realize that it's me. And I go back to every time something is happening in my life, I realize that it's not. If coming from responsibility, how do I get to own the situation if I want things to change? If I'm not happy where I'm at, I want things to change, then it's me. The answer is always me, period.
How hard is that to actually admit, though?
It's a lot easier today, but in the beginning it was hard because I made it mean something about me. I made it mean that I was inadequate and that I didn't know how to choose. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to function in life. But when you get past the ego part of it all, and it's just like, okay, cool. I can get there so much faster now. Okay, cool. So what can I do?
Guys, if you're wondering why I have my hospital gown, because I just had my appendix taken out. I had to drive myself to the ER like 4 days ago. Because this is why I have this hospital gown, because I had to figure out a way to kind of like, I had to drive myself to the ER, take out my appendix and, oh, you was this close from it being burst. This is why I have this on, guys. So just to let you know. But the show must go on.
Commitment.
The Carrie Pullaro show must go on this Tuesday because a lot of people look forward to it. Leave us a comment on the YouTube channel because this is where we're going to start answering questions in 2020. Let me ask this another question, right? How does alignment over attention?
Alignment over attention. Alignment over attention. Like I know what's for me. Attention is when I'm seeking something outside of myself, but alignment is where I know it inside and I'm like, oh, okay. I know that this is for me because I can feel it within me. Where my attention goes, my energy flows too. My life will build momentum when I seek the alignment rather than the outside validation.
Give me even like for me situation once you start like everybody like guys, you have boys, you impress somebody, you want to do this. Once you start stopping that outside validation and you pick yourself first, you start attracting different type of people because they're curious. You have confidence. You command respect. You do a lot of different things. From a woman's point of view, how does that attract you as a woman? When a man picks himself, he has some boundaries and certain things. In one of her posts, if you want to follow Miss Carrie Pullaro on Facebook and social media, she has some good stuff. Attracting the kind of man who leads the doors and deeply respects you starts with what you're finally willing to walk away from. Because from a woman's point of view, you're looking for somebody that has respect. Be ready at 6. I'm controlling everything. That's you. But you're also a controller.
It's so attractive to see a man who chooses himself and can make clear, concise decisions.
Mhm.
That's one of the most attractive things in the world, I'm telling you, because when he knows what he wants, when he says no to the things that drain him, and he doesn't try to like people please me, it's like that's attractive because I can see that he knows how to regulate himself, and that's emotional
Mhm.
maturity.
That's good. That you can spot that emotional maturity a mile away versus playing the little boy game, right?
Yes, because if he can choose himself, then that means he can choose me from fullness, not from emptiness.
How does it compare from self-respect over potential?
From
Yes.
so I think at that point you're choosing from I'm walking away from this, and that whole post was about me walking away from a specific version of me, especially the version of me that was afraid of creating boundaries. That's where the self-respect comes in. I would be so afraid to make choices, but I would claim that fear was flexibility. I would lower my standards under this illusion of being understanding, or I didn't want to be too much. I wanted to be flexible. I wanted to make sure that I was giving them options, but it didn't work for me.
Work.
No, that doesn't work. That's like such a mismatch, right? Like, because every time I would rationalize any type of inconsistency, then I'm just teaching myself that uncertainty is normal. So, like, I'm giving them all of these options. I don't know if they're going to choose me. I'm hoping that they choose me. It's this pick me energy, right? And I'm setting myself up to be in this energy of uncertainty all the time. And so my nervous system's on high alert. I'm doing it to myself, but I think it's them.
So how do you coach these to understand that?
Oh my gosh. We spend a lot of time on boundaries. Boundaries is a big thing.
Yeah, the channel. This is what I mean. You need them, and if you don't have them, you're just gonna keep sailing around in a circle. Eventually, just go down the tube.
Yeah, and boundaries are not a bad thing. I think for me, when I was growing up, I kept thinking that boundaries were rude and they weren't the polite thing to do, and realizing that boundaries are about me loving myself.
Absolutely. For me, boundaries as a man, especially when you're coming from a criminal lifestyle, right? Boundaries is what keeps you alive. Boundaries keep you having some sort of integrity. If not, you're gonna be with the animals. Because if
Yeah.
you have boundaries, now when you explain boundaries to women, like say the women that work in sales, where they're in corporate, but they don't have no boundaries and they don't have a giving or what do you call that, enlightening. How does it work for them, personally and professionally?
I think they get to have we have to do a total overhaul on the way that they think about boundaries, right? Because what I have found is if they don't have any boundaries in their business, they don't have any boundaries at home in their personal life. And
Oh,
it's shifting that mindset that boundaries don't push people away from you. They are actually protecting you, and they're not walls to keep people out. It's not you being rude. You are not pushing people away. Boundaries are just kind of like gates that allow certain people in and certain people out. That's it.
I like that analogy of it because it's not being a gatekeeper or anything like that, but it's a matter of you need to have boundaries for your own self respect. If you start crossing those lines in business, relationships, and sales, it kind of commingles. You also are confused with a lot of things because that energy will roll over into your personal life and vice versa.
100%. And I think when it comes to teaching about boundaries, a lot of women that have difficulty with boundaries are people pleasers. So it's letting them understand that when you set a boundary, you're not being cold, you're not being controlling, you're communicating your capacity, period. So you're showing someone how to show up for you, how to love you, how to be in your life. That's it. It's not something difficult. I think growing up as a people pleaser, we are taught that boundaries, we want people to like us. So boundaries mean you're going to piss some people off. And when you're a people pleaser, that's the last thing you want to do. They may not love
Right.
you again. And
Right.
so that attacks your nervous system. And then that's uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, that's from last week's talk where it's the uncertainty of everything else and the nervous system, how you're looking at that viewpoint. But, can you explain for me, because like Lee said, boundaries used to be a bad word. As when we was growing up, you boundaries. You can't cross that line over there because certain things. Oh, you can't do this situation because, you're going to be bad or anything. Boundaries is self-protecting, your self-love, actually choosing you for the first time in your life. Because if you don't choose you and you become a people pleaser, guess what's going to happen, guys? You're going to get ran over for the rest of your life. And it's built on usually some sort of trauma that you never figured out.
Yeah, 100%. Boundaries keep you in integrity with yourself. And
Right.
that's it. When you're in integrity with yourself, you keep resentments from building up. You keep the self-abandonment away, because when you abandon yourself and go into people-pleasing mode, that's the silent killer of connection right there, because you're disconnected from yourself at that point.
Right. How does setting boundaries, choosing yourself, like the title of our show today, right? How does it pertain to letting your partner lead? Like your man lead. You said
Mm.
you can attract a man who holds you when you're still gripping control like it's your own safety net. That is
Okay.
so deep. That is, to me, that is so deep because you don't
Yeah.
realize it until you can put that in words. And this is why me and Miss Pullaro, like, I can spot those things. Sometimes she don't even know. Sometimes you don't even know that you're doing it. But how does that relate or correlate?
I believe that boundaries, they do not block a man's leadership. They actually guide it, they allow it. So when a woman has no boundaries, she doesn't actually let him lead. She forces him to guess. And no man can lead when he's walking on eggshells, when he's unsure of what's allowed. Like, that's unattractive. Boundaries create the safety for that leadership to exist, because a man can only lead when he knows that the woman beside him is self-led, when she honors herself
Give
and
me,
she respects herself.
give me an example of that. How you enable, or what's happening is what you see with your clients. Because I know you're working with a bunch of ladies now, a new group. What is the one that's standing out? What's standing out? Because, like you were saying before, I see myself in these women. Give me an example how that relates to, like, say, choosing yourself, drawing those boundaries. Like you said, what you said earlier hit me because it's like, okay, if I'm guessing on what Andrea wants, that's a bad feeling because you have no assertive communication. Once you have a man start guessing, even like a woman start guessing, eventually it's going to deteriorate. How does that correlate? Or how does that make it happen?
So what examples that I've seen, I'm going to use like a pretty extreme example so that it
Oh,
can
we
land,
love
right?
extreme here.
Like when she says, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself because you always mess it up anyway. How would you feel? How would you feel? That's a fucking wall, right?
Right, right.
That's control. Like, I'm trying to control the whole situation. I don't trust you. I don't trust you to get it right. I'm going to stay in charge. We probably withdraw. You feel unsupported. It's like you're not attracted to that woman, whoever she is, right? Now you're killing polarity. Like, there's so many things that happen in that one sentence.
That's holy smokes. You mean, even like for me, when you just said it, like I got a like some sort of ugh.
Right. Now, listen, I used to say shit like that all the time. I mean, those were the words that would come out of my mouth because I was just kind of like, no, I mean, I totally got this. That is so uninviting for a
Right.
man to come into your space. And I couldn't understand. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a great catch. Why are men like repelled by me? Well, holy shit.
Right, right. But at the same time, you're thinking choosing yourself is coming from a different.
I'm thinking that I'm like, let me just choose myself here and I'll handle it because he needs to know that I'm responsible and that I'm capable. But that energy behind it didn't say that. The energy behind that
Yes.
was, I can do it better than you. It was a competition energy. That's what it was.
Would
Competition
it
energy.
how you have on your pose, walking away from your obsession, trying to be chosen when you're actually doing the wrong behaviors? Say if you're in
Mm.
the dating scene, right? Or like say you're in a relationship with your husband and wife and stuff, you start acting like this. That's not an obsession, like you said, that's control, but how do you rectify that situation?
Through some clarity, I think it's recognizing that boundaries don't mean I don't need you. they mean I know myself enough to tell you how to love me. It's about choosing me, right? When I'm clear, I can invite him in. That's when his power meets like softness. And then that also creates polarity there as well, right? If you think about the statement that I made earlier about doing it all myself, like that didn't feel soft. It didn't feel soft. I know
Yeah,
if
not at
somebody
all.
came at me with that energy, I'm like, I don't know who you are, but I don't even really want to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so great because I get to ask advice because sometimes, when you're in a relationship, you're going to have energies like that and words be said. Now I know where it comes from. This is why me and Carrie, we talk from both sides. We talk from the woman's side, from my side, what she wants. She even asks me hard questions because sometimes she wants to know, right? And this is what's so good because when you start choosing yourself and you want to find answers, a lot of times it's not all about, say, finding the energy that just shifts everything for the wrong reasons, right? Because no, you could be already spiraling into the abyss already, or you're not even calculating what you're worthy, or all this crap that goes on. What are you doing about it? Is what the question is, right? Now, the version of you that's watching this video, watching this live, watching this thing, or leaving a comment on stuff that still uses independence as an armor, you might need some help. You say you want partnership. You say you want love. You say you want secretly you want to keep people at their arms. And this is why I see, a lot of the shows that I watch is like, okay, they want to be independent, but they want to be also a part of the feminist movement, but they don't want to be feminine at all. Yes. Because Miss Pullaro used to be, and I hate you guys to laugh, but it's like, it's just the energy. I'll give you a story. I call up Mr. Pullaro one day. That guy called me. Oh, I thank you for calling me, this and that. And she just like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, holy, what the, just, but I see where she was coming from. And it's like the same type of energy, the demanding, this is my situation, the complaining, the risky. I've got to handle, but I still want answers.
Oh my God, I remember that conversation, and I was like, I didn't know how to receive. Like, I'm sitting here thinking about it right now, and I'm like, ooh, cringing. Yeah, you're like, I'm just showing up to help you. Like, how can I support you? And I'm like, okay, let me tell you all this stuff that's wrong. And I just don't even know what to do because I was so focused on the problems, and also I didn't want to be vulnerable.
At the same time.
Absolutely. That was so great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing because look at yourself now,
Yeah.
right? If anybody could do, I'll give you thing. If I can see when I have my speakers speak at the nonprofit and stuff like that, right? I know who has changed and who has not. They can't get over it because I can see it in their eyes. I can see by their actions, their behaviors, what they say. I knew what phase you was in at that time. But now when you look at the status that you're in now with the loving relationship, choosing yourself, drawing on boundaries, sharing it with other women and men on this channel and stuff like that, you've built an identity that solidifies your future. And you didn't even know it.
I think the biggest difference was as much as I was appreciative of your support in that moment, I didn't know how to receive it because I didn't feel that I was worthy or I deserved it. I mean, it was a lot. I had so much stuff going on internally that I hadn't processed yet.
But the thing that was so cool was I knew the type.
Yeah.
I knew where you came from.
Yes, you were so kind. Like, so kind and caring in that moment. And I was just like, wow. I remember leaving the conversation like, oh my gosh.
Oh, you was livid.
Yeah.
But you didn't choose yourself. You choose the act of what you seen from
Yeah.
other people. You wanted to get that. This is
Yeah.
where I have a thing with, because even I have other friends in our situation. Now they're directors of programs. And let me walk you through this post that you walking away from the woman who scrolls like his stories. If you're in the dating scene, it's like research who screenshots all this stuff, texts for validation, lets your nervous system get confused for chaos and chemistry. But you put here, it's not passion, it's dysregulation. Explain that to a woman going through it right now, or a guy who's second guessing this woman that might be doing this to him.
I talk to so many people about this because I used to do this. Like all of a sudden I'd become like this deep FBI investigator, right? Like
Oh, what do you do?
let me scroll his Instagram stories like I'm on their fucking payroll. I'm going to check out who liked what. I'm going to zoom in on these comments and read them into something that they're not, right? Like their secret coded messages. Tell myself it's intuition. And all the
Oh, you made an excuse for it too.
I'm like, oh, it's intuition. Yes, it's my intuition. It's telling me. And I remember, the same mentor that I had that conversation with, she was like, no, you know what that is? That's you looking for evidence to explode some shit. That's what it is. And you're going to find it.
There.
Oh, yeah. She's like, you're going to find it no matter what. Tell me,
Yep.
what are you looking for? And I said, well, this is what I'm feeling. And she's like, right. And that's what you're going to find, whether it's true or not, because that's the lens you're looking for.
Let me ask you this now. Guys, if you're a guy listening to this from our side, what do you tell the guys about a woman that used to do that does that? What should they do?
No, if they're both open, to doing the work, it's, letting him know, look, her nervous system is really addicted to chaos. If you're both committed to doing the work, it can absolutely happen. It really is about the level of commitment. That's the reality of it all.
I mean,
and if you're not willing to choose in, then just choose out. Because you're going to go down a road that is just miserable.
Okay, that's a big commitment. That's a very big commitment. Say you're not married. Say you're not in a committed relationship. And he's like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to make it work out. I'll take a chance with this person. That's ridiculous. But it's what these things are going to come up.
What I learned about that was like the evidence, it wasn't out there, right? The evidence was inside me because I already had this belief that he was going to behave a certain way. And that's all the evidence I needed. So I would just go and find shit and make it mean something. So it added to the evidence that I wanted to prove. When you're secure within yourself, you don't need to investigate every single man because you know your truth. You read energy, you can feel it within yourself, and you know that if something's off, that it'll be addressed. You just won't obsess over it. You don't have time for that because you're clear on where you're going.
Okay. When you lower the bar because you're scared that he or she will leave you, but you don't make it easy, how do you rationalize the inconsistency of it all?
When I lower the bar, what I'm really doing is I'm like, hey, 6-year-old me, why don't you go ahead, take the wheel and start driving, even though you don't have a driver's license, you don't know where the hell we're going, you've never done this before. You know what I mean? We're guaranteed to have a fucking crash, and it could be fatal. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to blow some shit up.
It's going to be fatal. Yeah, absolutely.
I would never let a 6-year-old drive the car, ever. Why would I do that? She's definitely going to crash. So I get to be the adult. I get to drive. She can sit in the passenger seat. I can let her know where we're going. And hey, you can just chill out. I got this.
You won't let your 6-year-old self drive the car, but you let the 6-year-old, if you don't catch it, drive your relationship and hope for the best.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, when you put it in that aspect, even for guys, they want to think with their other head, but it's like, it's different because, their need to procreate and everything else is embedded in them, but that's a young man's game, right? When you start looking at certain things, especially like the women you're helping now, they're at a certain age. What are they wanting from the conversations? Do they want relationships after you get, or some of them are done?
I think I have a good mix of both. Like, I think, yes, there are women that absolutely want to be in a relationship, and there are women that realize, a lot of women that are in my space right now realize, look, I would love to be in a relationship. However, I do realize I have some growth. Now, they put their growth first. Like, am I really equipped to handle a relationship right now? And are you ever really equipped? I mean, they think that's the big one. So for myself, I took time for me to work on me and then got into relationship. In fact, when I started working on myself, I was in a relationship at the time and that blew up. And after that, I was like, okay, cool. I get to commit to myself first because I don't want to blow up anything. I don't want to hurt anybody. Like, I get to just, including myself, like, I get to be responsible. And so from there, moving forward, it was just, okay, now I can do both like in conjunction with each other. That's the
Right.
only way I'm going to learn. Like I did think though, I had a misconception in the beginning. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do all this work and I'm going to be healed. And then I am going to go in as the master of relationships. Like I'm going to be the best partner.
You're gonna
And
be the shit.
I'm going to be the shit. And then I get into a relationship and I'm like, oh, because all of this stuff is like activated. And I'm like, and then the next thing you know, it's like the 6-year-old takes over.
Yeah. But even like for me, when if you was to tell me I was to be getting married, I say you please. But when you look at when I'm gonna give you the bigger picture of it. When you're sitting in a hospital bed with the same exact gown, with all this crap attached to you, there's certain things that you kind of realize and stuff like that. And I've had a lot of life-changing moments from being shot at, shooting at people, kidnapping, all this other kind of stuff like that. People putting on fire, shooting at all this good stuff, right? I call it. You realize that you have to find a partner because what if I was alone? You could say, yeah, I got my kids, I got my stuff, but you always need that someone. And you kind of like look at it like for you, if something was to happen to you, Carrie, you would have Abel. He would have you. In no questions asked. You start to realize that the life-changing moments you had has built you up to the standard that you are today. And some people do the career, but then deep down, they want security with somebody else. Right. And then you realize, like for me as a guy, it's like, wait, I don't get, even when I was in prison, I didn't get a visit for past 10 plus years. So I equipped myself to just be alone. But when you finally realize that the boundaries that you created, the work that you put in yourself is all worth it, when you have a lifetime team player, then you know you've succeeded in life. And then you take away the monetary thing and all this stuff, it's irrelevant at the same time. How do you feel about that with where you came by choosing yourself?
You mean as far as having the security of someone else?
Yes.
I think it allows you to open up from a different, when you know that you can hold yourself and that you're secure within yourself and you're open up to someone else, there you find the security in their consistency, in feeling safe enough to express your emotions, knowing that you can soften around this person and still be met, right? Like still be held, still be met. You realize it was a shield. You were using the independence as a shield and like no one could penetrate that. So once you begin to let go and relax, it's like, oh man, this feels good. You don't even realize how tense you are.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Amazing. Amazing. This is why it's good to come up from different angles. When you have
Yeah.
somebody like Miss Pullaro that has put in so much work into yourself to actually guide people, to guide women in all aspects, it helps. Because I'm going to tell you this, she helps me as much as I help her in a way that nobody else can see. If you're viewing this and you want to work with Miss Pullaro, reach out because you might have a committal relationship that might be going astray that she can guide, right? She's been through it. Now, with the closing remarks, what would you tell other people or other women in your situation that keeps saying you want a man, but still entertains confusion, inconsistency, and emotional breadcrumbs? And we'll end with that.
Stop pretending you don't need anyone. Because that's what it is. You're
Simple.
just letting fear run the show. You can keep
Simple.
convincing yourself that your independence is your power, but your real power is in your ability to receive and let people in and be supported and feel safe in someone's presence. That means cutting off all the people that breadcrumb you or that are. And what's crazy is like that part feels safe in the beginning, right? What she's accustomed to. Like the nervous system is so used to that. It's like that high alert. And because the man is feeding into that, it's like, oh, this is my normal. Let me keep going down that path. But it's like, no, that's not what I want. Like it's getting that clarity of this is what I want and this is what I'm only available for, period. Because when you finally stop proving that you can do this all alone, then you're going to create space for the kind of love and the kind of relationship that just reminds you that you don't have to be by yourself. That's the security. That's what your heart wants.
statement, was the show, was the slam dunk, was everything. That's what me and Miss Carrie work about. If you're not in alignment with yourself, you're going to be out of alignment with a lot of different things in your life: business, sales, coaching, relationships. Carrie, it's time for me to take my medication.
Thanks for being on today.
We still must go on. Guys, if you want to work with Miss, please reach out to her on social media. If you're a professional man looking for guidance in both your professional life and your home life, that's what we have me and Doc. We're going to put everything together coming in the new season, 2026. And we're going to I have things lined up already, right? So now we're going to have Doc, myself, Miss Carrie Pullaro, and some other guests that's going to be coming on that you see already online. But I want to say, hit that like button. Join our school community. There's going to be a lot of things going on there. All the courses, all the PDFs, everything's going to be on there. And hit us up.
Thanks for giving us your time, and please be sure to catch all the highlights on the playlist. Thank you again, and please don't forget to leave us a comment.